This is the struggle when you've read a book a while ago and then you're trying to talk about it, because like I don't really remember that much anymore, but I do remember I really liked this book and it was quite steamy as well, so that's nice. And it is really like the Grumpy X sunshine romance trope, which I love. Hi everybody and welcome back to a new video on my booktube channel, and today I am here to talk about some of my other favourite romance books. So I made a video, I think it was called A Hopeless Romantic Recommends You Romance Books, and it's me again, the Hopeless Romantic, recommending some good romance reads, and of course just in time for Valentine's Day, so if you're lonely then at least you'll have these books. Now, of course, you can be single and still be very happy. I am myself. I just love romance books because they're so fun and like easy to read and just a good time usually. So today I want to talk about some romance books. I think I have a nice list. So let's just get right into it. So the first romance book I want to talk about is one that has been recommended a lot on BookTube and that some of you, maybe even most of you, already know. But it is one I read recently, and so it is one I want to talk about. And that is The Loft Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood. I read this during the summer. It was a great time. It was just me reading this on the beach. I think I read it in one day actually. I just had a great time. I was sitting there in my little beach chair, I was hearing the waves, I was feeling so calm, and then I was reading about this girl doing her PhD and falling in love with her professor. Which was wonderful. You know, it doesn't always have to be high literature to be really nice. So Olive is a third-year PhD candidate and she doesn't believe in love or lasting relationships, and she's trying to convince her best friend that she's happy and she's dating because her best friend wants her to date somebody, and also her best friend has this crush on somebody that she went on one date with or something like that. I don't really remember, but it was something like that. But her best friend doesn't believe her. So just like in a really strange moment, she decides she's going to prove to the best friend that she's actually dating somebody, and she kisses a random man in the hallway. And that man turns out to be Adam Coulson, a young hotshot professor. So then they have to work in the Stanford lab together, I think, and it's, I don't know, there's like days where they go out and he's like with the teachers team, you know, when they play games, and it's just like, it's just really interesting. A lot of the characters are fun. I really like the friendships portrayed in this book as well. And yeah, it was just a really fun read. So if you're looking for like a light rom-com that will make you laugh and you'll just enjoy it, then I think this is a great recommendation. There were some scenes with sexual assault more towards the end, maybe sexual intimidation, that were a little bit, I don't know, they felt a little bit off, a little bit misplaced even. I wasn't really sure what they added to the story, despite just being like sad to read, you know, that so many women go through that. So that's just something I want to mention, but still, a book I liked. Then another book I want to recommend is The Right Swipe by Alicia Rai. It's been a really long time since I read this. I think I read this in November 2020 actually, so it has been a while. I liked it at the time. I listened to the audiobook. I always love listening to romance books on audio because they're like not super difficult to concentrate on. When I listen to fantasy on audiobook, I just get confused and I will not remember anything happening, but with romance it's really doable, which is nice. I listened to this one on audiobook as well, and it's basically about these two dating app rivals. So these two people that both have constructed a dating app. I think one of them is actually the owner of the dating app and like the one that set it up, and then the other one has another dating app, but he's like, I think, the nephew of the person who did that. That's what I remember. It's been a while, like I said. And basically they have a Tinder match, but he stands her up and she's like, okay, no second chances, I don't do that. And I think they meet again when she's trying to do a merger between the two companies, and from there on out it goes. But he's really hot and he's a football player, I think, and she's like really interesting and smart and really funny. This was just a really heartwarming romance. It made me very happy, it made me feel warm inside, like all of these books did. And I think also the more serious topics discussed in this book were done very well. And what I also really liked is, I think that was in this book, that there were a few scenes about dementia that were very, very sad. Maybe I am mixing up books here, but I feel like I'm not. I will double check though whilst editing. This is the struggle when you've read a book a while ago and then you're trying to talk about it, because like I don't really remember that much anymore, but I do remember I really liked this book and it was quite steamy as well, so that's nice. Not too steamy though. Then another book I would like to recommend is Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Sutanto. This one is fun because it's sort of a mix-up between a romance and like a cozy mystery. This is about Maddie, and her aunts run a wedding business. She's the photographer, some of her aunts do the makeup, one of them is a hairstylist, I think the other one bakes cakes, one does flower bouquets, so they all have like a different job within the wedding industry, and they form like one company. And basically Maddie is set up by her mum to go on a blind date with a man that her mum has been chatting with, pretending to be Maddie. But it's not Maddie, it was her mum. And she didn't even know that her mum was doing that, so of course she's quite pissed off. But she goes anyway, because she's like, okay, I'll give this guy a chance, I'll see. It cannot be that bad, can it? Spoiler alert, it can be that bad, because Maddie ends up accidentally killing this man, which is of course absolutely horrible. I've dated around, but that has never happened to me. I hope that will not happen to you either this Valentine's Day, because God, you would go through something similar as this one, I think. Although, whilst reading this, you definitely have to suspend your disbelief. It is such a wild and fun ride. Maddie ends up hiding the body, and her aunts run around during a wedding job all day long to try and make sure that nobody finds out that Maddie has killed somebody and they're hiding the body. And then basically Maddie's ex-boyfriend that she's still in love with and that she never wanted to separate from turns up at this wedding as well, and so that makes everything a lot more complicated. This was one of my favourite romances I've read so far in 2022. It was just really sweet, but it had like a little tang because of the murder mystery, and I thought that was really nice. This book also holds a special place within my heart because I bought it in Paris, which is always cool. So yeah, I just had a good time with this one. Definitely, if you're not into the whole murder thing, if you don't find that fun to read or interesting or intriguing or in books, then just don't pick this one up. I didn't mean that murder is fun, but you get what I did mean. It's not really a mystery because you already know who did it. It's more sort of just like a fun romp, although it is obviously not fun that someone has been murdered. Although this guy was quite a douche, so, you know, I can see where she came from. Anyway, we're moving on from this one. Next one that I want to talk about is Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellafleur, and also the second book in this series, Hang the Moon by Alexandria Bellafleur. This one I am currently in the middle of. It is so much fun. In this one we follow Brandon, who has a dating app himself, and he is very romantic. He's like the big romancer, and basically one of his childhood friends that is like the best friend of his sister comes over to visit, and his sister is actually not in town. And then they start hanging out, and he wants to prove to her that romance is real because she's like, oh, romance, so outdated. She's like not into it, but he tries to prove to her that it is great. And of course, they are both falling for each other like bricks, and it's just really fun to read. I'm having such a great time. I always love the way Alexandria Bellafleur sort of works astrology into her novels, because in the other one, Written in the Stars, we follow Elle and Darcy. I think Elle has an astrology app, and Darcy has a really great job and is more like sort of practical and straight to the point. That other book is queer, so it's two girls, and it is really like the grumpy ex-sunshine romance trope, which I love. Darcy is so grumpy and Elle is just a ball of sunshine, and yeah, I absolutely adored that book. And I listened to that one on audiobook, and I'm reading this one physically now, but so far this one has been really, really good as well. So I'm really enjoying my time with these, and I'm really, really happy that I picked this one up. And then another book I want to talk about is Better Luck This Time by Imogen Markwell Tweed. This is a romance I'm also currently listening to, so I haven't finished it yet. And in this book we follow Alice, who is currently studying, I think. She's like in a study group, and then she meets this really annoying girl at the coffee shop, and she's like, oh my god, why is this woman so obnoxious? She annoys me. And then she actually starts avoiding that coffee shop, but then she runs into this lady again, and she's like, oh my god, I'm not getting rid of you. And then this girl starts sitting down next to her and talking to her and actually flirting with her, but Alice is really like, she's a straight A student, she doesn't have time for this, so she's like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, I don't have the space. And then this girl's like, sorry, but I know you, I know who you are, we used to be friends. And so it turns out it's her childhood friend, Phoebe, and she goes by B now. And basically it turns out that B is a famous bass player in a band. B invites Alice to go to her show, and she goes, and yeah, a romance is going to blossom, I presume. So far, this is such a fun read. It's quite short, but I'm just hoping it's going to be short and sweet. I like the characters. I think it's always so cool to read about characters in bands. I just think it's really fun. It's always like a fun thing to have in a book. And yeah, I'm also a big fan of the whole childhood friends to lovers thing, so I cannot wait to see where this book is going to go. And then last but definitely not least, a romance recommendation I haven't really talked about a lot on this channel despite reading this in 2019 is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. This is about Rachel Chu, and her boyfriend invites her over to spend the summer with him in Singapore, and she's never met his family, so she's really excited and she goes. And when she arrives there, she finds out quite quickly that his family is super crazy, absolutely ridiculously rich, and she's not, and she doesn't fit into it. This has also been made into a movie, and I also really enjoyed the movie. This is, again, such a fun romp, just a really cute and fun journey, a book I really enjoyed, a perfect summer read, perfect for Valentine's Day, and yeah, I just really like this. And also Rachel's best friend is such a fun character, and yeah, really fun read. So those were some of the romance recommendations I wanted to talk about today. I hope this video gave you some great books that you can read this Valentine's Day, or maybe another day, any other day. I hope you all have a really great day and give a hug to your loved ones. Comment some heart and Valentine's Day related emojis down below if you don't know what to comment, or else let me know what you thought of the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my content. And yeah, I'll see all of you guys in my next video. Bye!